Honorable members, distinguished guests, His Excellency, the guest of honor, will be entering the chamber shortly. Once the guests in, may you all please rise and stay standing until after the African Union anthem and the anthem of Comoros.
Your Excellency, the President of the Union of Comoros, President Azali Assaoumani, Your Excellency also as Chair of the African Union, which means you are the chair of the Assembly of Heads of States. When our presidents meet at continental level, you are the chairperson. May I also recognize our bureau members in front here, our Deputy Minister of International Relations and the Cooperation of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Candith Mashego Lamini. Our dignitaries here, our speakers, President of the Senate, and the various parliaments, our regional chairpersons of regional caucuses, chairpersons of committees and your bureaucracies, honorable members of parliament. I should have also mentioned that I can see from here that the ambassador of the Comoros, who is based in Addis Ababa, and is also the chairperson of the Permanent Representative Council, my very long time personal friend, Ambassador Yusuf, I recognize you. I also should recognize the ambassador of the Comoros in Pretoria or South Africa, who is with us here. You are welcome. And all the other dignitaries, participants here, and I know there are a number of diplomatic corps, and we should not forget, I can't see him where he's seated, the Dean of Diplomatic Corps, Ambassador Basaeki. Where is he? He was inside. Is he outside? Dean. Dean should come here, sit in front here. You are all come here in front, the Dean of Ambassadors. Yeah, you can take, I will remove that name. There's some, I know there's a name somewhere, but you just sit there. They will correct the names. So all the ambassadors present this morning and any other brothers, sisters, and friends, I am delivering this speech today with a lot of joy in me, a lot of joy in all the MPs in this room, that after a long time, our official opening is being delivered by the chairperson of the African Union, chairperson of the Assembly of Heads of States on this continent. It's very, very, very great day. In fact, if I were to ask you, Your Excellency, if I were to ask our members of parliament and secretariat if they can remember when the opening of parliament was presided over by the chair of the African Union, when was the last time? I think all of you don't even remember. We have tried almost every year. We have not been able to attract a person of your caliber and at that level on the continent. So, Your Excellency, we want to take time to express our deepest gratitude that you only came into office as chair of the union in February. And if we count about 3 months, 2 months, within 2 months, you have created space for Pan-African Parliament. Pan-African Parliament needs you a lot. We need you as chair of the union for us to move forward. Our mandate, Your Excellency, is a loaded mandate as a parliament. Like any other parliament, we oversee the programs and the policies of the union. In the protocol, it actually says Pan-African Parliament shall ensure the implementation of the programs, policies of the union. And in doing that, it says, as part of our mandate, we should ensure the full participation of African peoples in the economic development and integration of the continent. And then it encourages us to also promote principles of human rights and democracy, that we should ensure as a parliament, ensure good governance, transparency, and accountability in the member states. And then we should familiarize the peoples of Africa with the objectives and policies aimed at integrating the African continent within the framework of the establishment of the African Union. And that we should ensure promotion of peace, security, and stability, and contribute to a more prosperous for the peoples of Africa by promoting collective self-reliance and economic recovery, facilitate cooperation and development in Africa, strengthen continental solidarity and build a sense of common destiny among the peoples of Africa, and facilitate the cooperation among regional communities and parliaments on this continent. Of course, to date, we do not have legislative powers who could perform these functions much better, more effectively, if we had legislative powers. When the PAP was launched in 2004, the member states said, both in the protocol and the rules, they said, after 5 years, that is from 2004, which means by 2009, member states will meet in a conference. They will meet in a conference to decide on the issue of PAP becoming legislative. So this should have happened in 2009. No conference took place. Instead, a process in this chamber started to amend the protocol, which is now called the Malabo Protocol, which was approved by member states for ratification in 2014. To date, since 2014, Your Excellency, I know we have the 15th member only last week or so, which is the Central African Republic being the 15th member, 15 ratifications since 2014. We are supposed to garner 28 ratifications for the protocol to get into force. But if you look at the rate at which member states are ratifying, it may take more than 50 years or never to get to 28. I think as the chairperson of the union, this is a matter that we need to visit and say what is happening. And in our operations, Your Excellency, you know, we came, Pan-African Parliament only came in 2004, yet the OAU had been born in 1963. So other organs were born earlier. And there was no parliament, there was no court for the union. So the court and the parliament only came in 2004. Now, before 2004, there were other organs who were playing the role of a parliament. Things like overseeing, doing that. Now, when we came on board up to now, we still have a problem of what we may call TAF conflicts. Like, and I want to say the PRC chair is here. Sometimes lack of clarity what the parliament oversight should do and what PRC should do. We believe with the reform program, I think we may cross that one. This year, in view of our mandate, we are also as a parliament pursuing vigorously the theme, the AU theme of 2023, which is accelerating implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. I can assure you, Your Excellency, that this parliament is fully aware that economic development for Africa, the issues of youth unemployment, the issues of infrastructure development can only be achieved through the success of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And on our program this week, during the session, next week we have a 2 days conference where members of parliament will debate and contribute on the issue of ensuring that we succeed. And within that, the gender and the youth dimension is going to be part of that today AFCTA discussion. Because we don't want to exclude women or the youth in all the development agenda that we are doing. Now, 2063 agenda or Agenda 2063 is yet another challenge that as a parliament we are seized with. And we have to ensure that laws, trade laws are harmonized in order to move forward, including other programs of Agenda 2063. Now, the issue of democracy and governance, which I want also to link with the issue of unconstitutional changes of government on this continent. I think we have to think twice about our continent. At a time when we thought we were succeeding, the coups are becoming a thing of the past. In the last 2 years or so, we have gone backwards. And the current situation in Sudan is good testimony that I think we need to pull up our socks as Africa. With this issue of military taking over I think it is eluding us, and we need really to sit down. And this is the forum, a parliament of this nature with membership from all the countries, I think should take these issues seriously. And we will find time during this session to look at issues of peace and security on the continent and why we continue to worsen on the continent. And we will be joined by the Commissioner for Political Affairs and Peace and Security from Addis to integrate these issues. But I tell you, it's a very difficult situation. I posted on our group of MPs yesterday, I think for a second time, when we were celebrating Women's Day. And I said we are celebrating Women's Day, but the issue of conflict and instability on the continent is taking the gains of women again away from the women. There was a picture that I showed Your Excellency. A woman riding a donkey with a child behind on her back and another on her front. And another woman again riding another donkey, running away from the war. And so when you celebrate Women's Day, then you say, so conflict is the bad thing. Election observations is another challenge on the continent because, the parliament, which is the beacon of democracy, is an institution. In our election observation missions, we are now just a small appendage to the AU missions, where there are 50 observers, maybe PAP will have 5 only. Yet, not less than half of an election mission should be composed of members of parliament because they are the real practical players in that area. But we are not, it's an issue that we need to continue looking at, among other issues. There is the issue of food security on this continent, worsened by the Russia-Ukraine conflict, so that our inputs, fertilizers, cannot come in the continent at the rate that we expect. Your Excellency, we also want to talk about our own heads of state and the way we are invited by some countries as a continent, that Africa come here, China come to America, come to Turkey, come to Japan. In all the assessments we hear that there's nothing much coming out of those gatherings. But also, we're also a bit unhappy with the treatment our heads of states face when they attend these conferences. They are put in buses and all that, but they go back home without anything after all. Those monies that are promised never come after all. It is a bit demeaning on the status and integrity of our heads of state and our countries. We may be poor, but not the way we are being treated. I think we should organize ourselves and move better. Your Excellency, this parliament is strong. Of course, between 2020 and 2022 June, the parliament was off business. It was like closed for business. First of all, it was COVID-19 from 2020 to 21. 21, it was about conflicts over rotation. We disagreed, there was acrimony, and then we came back June 2022. We came back in a very vibrant manner, very united manner as MPs. We abandoned the old divisions. We embraced rotation. And we are happy. And the rotation has gone to even levels of committees. And there is fairness in the way power is distributed at PAP. And happy, we designed a program, we had workshops, we reinvented ourselves now. We've reinvigorated, creating direction, what we should do, values and everything. Good parliament. And even outsiders have seen the difference. But the problem we have is that we have no money. We have no money. The budget is empty. We have no money even for committees to meet, Your Excellency. In a parliament, when committees cannot conduct business, when committees cannot go to where things are happening to see for themselves as MPs, evaluate, assess, and come and report, and we come to you, the Assembly of States. In that case, that parliament is basically dysfunctional. We have appealed for budget, and I'm happy the chair of the PRC is here. We had a budget of 36 million annually, which was reduced to 11 million now from 36. And because of that, we are almost closing the gap between the budget for staff and the budget for other operations. The budget is almost equal to payment of staff remunerations only. We remain with money insufficient even for one session. One session costs 1.3 million. Currently, we are given 900,000. We can't even meet. But more so, meet for what? We meet when committees have been out there on the continent and come and report. So we meet without committees doing anything. And this is a big issue, Your Excellency. We need the support of the PRC, the subcommittee on budget. Surely we need to be seen differently. And I told them the other day in the PRC that PAP is like a new car. Reconditioned, new tires, new everything, new steering. But the tank is empty. It cannot be driven anywhere. It cannot go anywhere. It needs fuel. PAP has no fuel to move forward. So, Your Excellency, in view of this problem, we have another strange institutional situation in the AU, where everywhere in the world, there is no parliament that does not pay sitting allowances to MPs. It is only this one. The whole world, it's only this parliament which does not pay sitting allowances. The only one in the world. The whole world, nothing. Why are we treated like this? Why are we treated like this? Even I say, even the bureau does not get anything per month. Nothing. Whereas all other organs get paid. All other organs get paid, but PAP no. In PAP, nothing. I think that has to be reviewed. We even used to have medical cover. When MPs are here, they are covered medically. This was removed. This was removed. Probably we need more time with you. But one headache is also coming out of recruitment. The new AU recruitment system, is blocking progress in the union. To advertise, it takes 1 year. Just put a job advert. When they advertise to get us, then they will shortlist somewhere, we don't know. And then out of 300 applicants, they will give you 5. They say, these are the people that you should interview. Yet the rules say each organ should recruit its own staff. We are really in a very dire state. But before I conclude, I want to say We are lucky, Your Excellency, that you are here, because some of you may know, some of you may not know. Comoros used to be a country characterized with instability. Those who have been reading a lot, Comoros at one time had the highest rate of frequency of military coups at one time. Today, when Your Excellency, the President, Azali and Soumani, you came in, Comoros is now the most stable. The economy is improving. The quality of life of Morocco, the Comoros is improving. Now, we should appeal to you that being the chair of the union, can you use those skills that you have used in the Comoros to bring peace to the whole continent? Yeah, we are lucky because in your country you have done it. So let's end these unconstitutional changes of government on the continent during your tenure. And please, you tell them in Addis, and you also tell us sometime how you did it, what should be done on this continent. Surely we should clap again for His Excellency. Can we clap again for His Excellency? The MPs from Comoros, if we were to have time and say, one of them tell us, from Comoros, they would tell you that he's the best man we ever had. There's now stability. I've said, if you go back in history, there's one time when Comoros experienced coups on this continent at a frequency higher than any other region or country. But that is now a thing of the past because of the President, His Excellency Azali Soumani. We look forward to working with you. When he arrived this morning at the airport, and the whole bureau was there to receive him, as I conclude, and I said this to President Ruto of Kenya 3 weeks ago when I met him. I said, you see, the problem we have also of leadership on the continent is that when the people get into office, they are no longer accessible. When people become heads of state, they are no longer accessible. They no longer know what is happening out there. Here, the team from Comoros were telling me, the MPs, that this president is a very down-to-earth person. And we saw it ourselves this morning at the airport. He arrived just before 4 a.m. Just before 4 a.m. And we were saying, oh, His Excellency is very tired. In French, fatigué. He was very tired. So, but then we needed to brief him. Either at the hotel this morning when he is rested. So he said, Mr. President, it's too early. Now 4 a.m., you've been traveling. Maybe we brief you tomorrow when you come to pub. He said, don't worry, let's sit. Briefing, 4 a.m. We started at the airport in the lounge to brief him, and we thought 15 minutes. But because he's very generous, we ended up taking almost 45 minutes. At 4 a.m., we briefed him, I spoke, all the bureau members spoke. That is the quality of presidential material we need on this continent. People who are prepared to listen. And some of you will become presidents in the future because Papa has produced presidents. Please, when you become presidents, don't run away from the people. Don't run away from the people. Surely we are humbled. We spend 45 minutes. You never say, oh no, time is gone. Time is gone. We exhausted everything the way we like. Each one member of the bureau spoke, and he replied to us very down to earth, simple. Africa, if can have such a president, can be better. We know some presidents that you can never see them, whether an MP or even ministers, for years. And that's why Africa is suffering. Africa is suffering. Anyway, let me end here. Let me end here. I'm very excited today that the chair of the African Union, the ultimate organ, the topmost organ of the Union, the chair, chairing all presidents on this continent, is in this room this morning. I know he will say it when he takes the floor. He said, on this budget issue and the conditions of MPs, I am going to be your champion. That's what he said. He said, I am going to be your champion. Can we stand up for him? Can we stand up for him and clap? You can take your seats. Now, on this note, before our guest of honor delivers his speech, there will be some other presentations to make sure that we sweep the ground clean before he takes the floor. I'll start with welcoming remarks by Honorable Candid Mashengo Dlamini, the Deputy Minister of International Relations and Cooperation from the Republic of South Africa. You are welcome.